Hello, welcome to my YouTube channel. I thought this would be much easier. Now I am making some white chocolate ganache. I'm going to show you how I do it. I use ganache on my cakes because I make mostly mud cakes because that's what's popular here in Australia. Ganache makes the cakes, the mud cakes especially, really solid base. So when you're putting fondant over it, it's a really firm, solid base, so you're not getting a lot of movement underneath the cake when you're trying to put the fondant on and things like that, and because the ganache sets up quite firm, and it makes it really easy to use. And I'll show you how I ganache a cake later, which you can also do the same technique with buttercream. So this is how I make ganache. I'm making white chocolate ganache. White chocolate ganache is 3 parts chocolate to 1 part cream. So for example, I've got 600 grams of white chocolate here. I just use Nestle melts. You can use any chocolate. And I've got 600 grams of cream, so I'm using 600 grams of chocolate to 200 mils of cream. And I've got some extras. Now I make my ganache in small quantities. I don't make big bowls of it, so like I'm making 2 separate things, because I find if I try and make big batches, I end up splitting the ganache and it ends up crappy. So I make it in smaller quantities and just mix it together. So first off, I heat the cream. If my oven would work. I heat the cream in the saucepan. Woo. Heat the cream in the saucepan, just gently. You don't want to boil the cream, you just want to bring it to a simmer, just before boiling. So while that's doing that, while that's just coming up to temperature, what I do is I've got my white chocolate in the bowl here, and what I've done is I've just actually started to melt it in the microwave, just so that when I put the cream in, it's already warm and it's already going to be, melted, and the chocolate's going to melt easier. Because I find that when I make ganache, if you get a bit of chocolate that doesn't melt, you have to keep putting it back in the microwave, and that's when you're overheating it, and that's when it's going to split. So if the chocolate's already a little bit melted, and I mean a tiny bit, like soft, not melted, just soft, then you don't have to put it back in the microwave. So and always microwave on low. Turn your microwave setting down to low if you can. Don't do it on high, because that will burn and ruin your ganache. Okay, so just waiting for that to simmer. Cream you need to use thickened cream, or you might call it double cream, but the way you check to see if it's the right cream is it should be 35% fats. 35, so this one's 35 grams or 35% fats. Yes, darling. No. Okay, this is nearly starting to thin down now. I'll simmer soon. So you don't want to boil your cream, because you don't want to bring the cream up to boiling or too hot, because when you put it in the chocolate, it will split it and you'll get that oily residue. You don't want that. But it needs to be heated to make it, to cook it, to make it safe. So you can leave the cream, the ganache, out of the fridge. Nearly there. So I've just got all my cream in one container here, so I'm actually going to measure out my 600 grams to 200 mils. I always use a baby bottle because they're actually really good measurements, really accurate measurements, especially for small quantities. I don't normally stick my fingers in food, but it's just the mouth, it's not painful. Alright, feeling nice and hot now, but not boiling. So, I'm going to, it's hot. I'm going to pour in 200 mils. There. And then just pour it over the white chocolate. And give it a really good shake and swirl around so that you do that, and then all your chocolate ends up nice and covered by the cream. And then we'll do this one. And this one's 400 grams, so I need about 130. Circle that in. Around. And then you just leave them for a few minutes to let the hot milk melt the chocolate, and that's it. And then you just stir it around, and if you do have any bits of chocolate that aren't melted, then just stick it in your microwave for like 20-30 seconds on a low setting, and just keep stirring it. You really don't want to be heating it through too much, otherwise that's when it's going to split. Here's a tip: if you do split your ganache, just keep sticking it in the fridge, stirring it, put it in the fridge, stirring it, and it should come back together. If it doesn't, add a little bit more of, so always have a little bit extra hot milk, cream, sorry. So have a little bit spare, and when that's cooled, just stir that through your ganache if it splits, and it should bring it back together. You can usually save it if it splits, but white chocolate's terrible. So white chocolate's a 3-to-1 ratio, and dark chocolate is 2-to-1 ratio. Milk chocolate's 3-to-1 as well. Bye.